The question, which I think I asked you about 2 weeks ago or something, is what do you think the mind is?
What do I think the mind is? The mind is what we used to think with, and it isn't what controls the bodily functions, because I think that's the brain.
Yeah.
So the mind is what we think with in our conscious. It's conscious thinking.
What's that?
What's conscious?
What's that?
What's conscious thinking? What we're aware of thinking.
Okay. Let me just ask you a few questions, some thoughts. Do you think the mind is separate from the body, or
Separate from the body.
part?
It's a part of the body.
Okay. Do you think it's an entirely biological function, or a subset of biological function, in the same way spell check is a subset of software?
Yes.
Where do you think that the mind might be located?
In the middle of the brain.
In the middle of the brain.
Okay. I mean, knowing about. I mean, I'm not talking about it's in the connecting fibres. It's probably actually. If I think, got the two hemispheres and the connecting bit there.
The corpus
callosum, is it, or
yeah.
whatever. The mind actually would be like the size of a fist, going round the middle of that. I mean, it isn't on the outside, but it comes into that part and round there, and so you'd have fist there, fist there, fist there, which is the mind, and then so it exists both inside and outside the brain. That's very strange.
This is just all occurring to you.
It's just all occurring to me just now. I just had a picture of that's where the mind was.
Yeah,
I don't know what
clear.
is actually out. I'm not sure what is in this area. I guess it must be nothing in particular.
Okay. Do you think that the mind is something that the individual possesses, or that there is a collective mind?
Individual.
What do you think happens to the mind on the death of the physical body?
Just stops. So it's interesting what you said about, is it a collective or whatever?
Yeah.
As individual, and we've all got the same mind. Our minds are all the same. Because it's a part of biology, you know. They're all the same. Because I know, and we just okay, we do different things with them, but we've all got the same. I mean, we all have a copy of each other's biology, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know. You asked me. Oh, what happens? Yes, it just stops.
Sort of dies.
The electrons, whatever, just stop going through it. It just ceases. It probably decays as well when bodies decay, but. But the potential remains.
In what way? The potential has to remain. In that minds don't rot, okay, like flesh does, okay, because it's I suppose because it is a potential rather than a physical structure, because the mind doesn't have a physical structure. Yeah, that's another question, is what's the structure and what's the structure?
It's energy. It is energy just happening to take a particular space. Little parts, suppose little bursts of energy, kind of whizzing around and connecting with each other. That doesn't die. It becomes dormant, and it has to still remain. The potential still has to remain when somebody dies, and if they're reincarnated, it goes to someone else.
Is this something you've thought about
No.
before? Okay.
structure of the mind. What do you think the function of the mind is?
Differentiation between us and other animals. Survival of the fittest, advantage. That's the benefit of it, I suppose. Would you ask me what the function is? Well, it runs our consciousness, as I've said before. Enables us to make, to decide things and know things.
What would you say consciousness was?
Consciousness. It's that bit of the mind which we use, and by that I mean it's the bit that we have sensory awareness of.
Yeah.
Like if somebody was to say, "What are you thinking?" I would go, "Blah," and that would be coming from my consciousness.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, as opposed to unconsciousness, where I don't know what happens down there, but I can't report on it.
Yeah. Is this something, this sort of this question, and whether it's about something that you're interested in, and would you think about it afterwards, or do anything with it?
Or do anything with it? Depends if I had a purpose for doing something with it. It's interesting, but it would have to take a higher priority. But if I was on a weekend investigating the mind, then of course it would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's about it. Only in terms of time tonight, and maybe we'll talk about it again. Have you got any questions?
I think there'd only be questions that I'm already asking myself about what I think about unconsciousness and all that kind of thing. Has there been any vast difference between? Really?
That's what's great, and that's what's great to capture. Because if you watch the whole video, there's my mother, my brother, my cousin, now you three, and there's somebody else who's I think would be interesting to see what he reckons.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It is. It's just people come out with the statements and beliefs, and it's like if I say to them in response, "Is that what you think?" and they say, "Oh, no, that's how it is." So the whole thing, one after another, these different portraits and expressions of people's thinking, and then some people have thought about it a lot.
Yeah. Well, this is actually
others have never thought about it really, and yet they have all got lots to say.
The piece that is leading me on to thinking about later is about expanding the proportion, because we've got the consciousness here and unconscious here, and because we can't keep everything up here. We kind of dip into this and pull and pull out whichever bits we need. I'd like to kind of increase the proportion I use from that much to that much. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. Great.
Right.
Thank you for
Thank you.